Let's look at valuations. Very important. They can make or break a deal, and we'll explain you why. So it's got a few different modules, and I'll create a video for each one of them because they all require a little in-depth commentary on them, so to speak. So the most important thing about valuation is this. Remember we discussed about GST and the margin scheme. Here's what I want you to do. Make sure that when you are purchasing a property, you get an advice from your accountant and you get it in writing by email or a letter mailed to you or sent to you in a PDF via email, that you are actually buying that under the margin scheme. And the reason for that is a valuer would inevitably ask you whether or not your project is under the margin scheme. Now, 99% of the time, as discussed, what margin scheme is, if you're buying something that someone previously hasn't claimed the GST on, or hasn't claimed that under margin scheme already, it will most likely be under the margin scheme, unless it's a commercial property and so on. So refer to the margins, GST and the margin scheme video under the financial feasibility module, and you'll understand what a margin scheme is. What I'm saying is that you need to get a written advice from your accountant before you purchase the property, and the reason for that is that you would know whether or not it falls under the margin scheme or not. If it does fall under the margin scheme, your valuer will ask for those details and will ask for that letter from the accountant. So it just helps you prepare you in advance that you've already got that in place. So when they ask for you, you can shoot it straight away and it doesn't delay the valuation. So let's look at why getting a favorable valuation is important. So let's look at this example. I'll just squeeze out. So if the valuation is less than the purchase price, the contract price is equal or less than the purchase price or the contract price, this basically means that more equity injection is required by you. So let's look at this example. Let's say the LVR, which is the loan to value ratio, is 80%, and the contract price that you've agreed to buy for a property is 1.25 million. The equity required by you is 312,500, and it's not that the bank will lend you 80% of that. The bank will lend you 80% of the valuation that comes in, not the contract price. The bank actually couldn't care less what you've paid for it. Bank's gonna say, okay, we'll give you 80% of the loan. Your serviceability and everything is pretty good, but we'll give you 80% of the valuation that comes in, not what you've agreed to pay for it. Because we've seen over and over again, a lot of overseas investors have come in and they've paid 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, and in some cases, I know my friend used to be the bank manager at Bank of Melbourne, and he was telling me about this guy who came to him, and he purchased a property for $9 million, and when they got the valuation of the property, it was only $3.7 million. So how do you do that? So if you went to the bank to get a loan for that, the bank will only give you 80% of 3.7 million, not the 9 million that you've already agreed to pay or you've signed that. So all that was going to be the shortfall that you will have to foot from your pocket, and that's what this example explains. So if you got valuation that comes in at $1 million, the equity required on 80% LVR is 200,000 plus the shortfall another 250,000, so for 450,000. And the difference between 450 and 312,000 is extra 137,500 from your pocket. So if you're not careful, when it comes time for valuation, you're gonna fall short of that money. And just remember that valuations are mostly all commercial valuations are all paid by the developer. In some cases, when you're doing a refinance, the bank doesn't ask you to pay for the valuation and can arrange its own valuation.